Hello and welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me in another of my monologues. Slightly different one today, I think. But before that, I just want to say a big thank you to obviously everybody who donates and everybody who has been sharing the videos and what have you, but also to a number of very special people who recently came, a couple, you know who you are, knocked on my door, very kindly donated some logs, because you saw me a couple of days ago saying, oh, I've inappropriately, or I've misjudged rather, the number of logs that I needed to get through the winter. I had a bit of a cold and we didn't go where we were going and various things, and I'd sort of got it a little bit wrong, and I suppose people have felt a little bit sorry for me, and they've said, look, I'd like to make a donation, but not in money, but in logs. So thank you so much. And to also the other gentleman who I occasionally have conversations on WhatsApp with, you know who you are too. So a big thank you to you for your contribution as well. It's just, people are so lovely. My audience, I have to say, I covet my audience because they are the best ones in the world. So thank you so much for watching and being part of it. And on that, I had an email from somebody who said, Richard, how is it that you're always so chipper, that you're upbeat, that you think that we can win this? And it was just a very quick, couple of lines. And I thought about that, and I thought that's a very interesting thing. One is trying to sort of illuminate what's going on, understand. And in it's just over 2 years now that I've been sort of speaking about this, although some of what I believed was going on did spill into my previous incarnation of the bald explorer stuff when I was going around looking at heritage, landscape and nature. And it is curious that when I was saying things in that show that I didn't believe in man-made global warming, that it would cause a bit of a stir with the audience. They would go, oh, what? You don't believe in it? You don't believe that the planet is heating up? And they go, no, I don't. And then suddenly, boom, they were no longer viewers. They agreed with, say, 90% of the things I was doing. They loved the landscape, the nature, visiting old buildings and all of that. But because I didn't believe in one thing, they suddenly ran off and said, well, I can't cope, can't deal with you now because it's like that. And we saw that, did we not, during the pandemic, in which you could just question one thing. It's, do you think this certain medical intervention is actually a sensible thing? Oh, no, you've got to do that. Or I don't like you. And that was a very strange thing. And of course, we all know that we all lost friends and family members because they just think we're all a bit mad for questioning. And so, yeah, there is the big pressure from all of that. And the further you go down the rabbit hole, the more you start to think, oh, my goodness, they've really got it all sewn up. They're after us. They're going to sort us all out. They're going to depopulate everything, and only a few of us will survive. And maybe the ones that do survive are the critical thinkers and the ones that using common sense. And they don't want those around, do they? So maybe they've got certain enclosures, let's say, with razor wire and what have you, to prevent you from going out. Or maybe they have another method of shutting you up completely. Who knows? So how can you be so chipper, was the question. And it is a question, and I suppose I am fairly optimistic in my attitude to life. I try to laugh at myself. I don't take myself too seriously. But one of the things that I do, and I think I didn't realize I was on quite such, say, a spiritual path. I've always had that understanding of I'm not my body, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my mind, I'm not my brain. Well, what am I? I've always had that sort of thought that there is more to life than just this sort of physical iteration. And I've never been able to sort of pin exactly what it is, but I do feel that we're some sort of consciousness, if you like. And I express this from time to time in these videos or in interviews when people push me and they say, what's your religious understanding? And I think, well, I'm not sure I have an organized religion type thing. I don't follow any doctrine or anything. I can only perceive the world through these eyes and the five senses. And even then, I don't know that the world really exists and that there's actually anything there, because I can't really get to it. I can only understand it, translate it through five senses that I'm aware of. And maybe We have more senses that we're thinking about. People talk about we're only using 2 strands of DNA, or we're only using a 10% of our mind and our capabilities. And other people talk, well, we've been genetically modified many, many, many centuries ago by Anunnaki and all of this. Well, I personally am not really into all of that. I don't really think that, because when it comes down to it, I have consciousness, and that's all there is. I have some sort of awareness. And that makes me feel that it doesn't really matter what happens to this iteration of me, that I will go on, and that light will always shine in the dark. And so therefore, no matter what they do, they cannot win. And now they often tell us, don't they, that the plans they're going to do, they put them into the movies. And it struck me some time ago now, and I think with the lovely Julia also, she says, well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because usually in, I would say, 95% of movies made, the good guys always win. So they may be telling us what they're planning, but don't forget, the good guys always win. So the bad guys can only win whilst for a short period, and maybe, that's what they're taking advantage of. And they want to try and get their thoughts and their plans out to us. But actually, in the end, the good guys always win. And we know what's morally right. We have internally, I think, our own ethics. We know you don't need to be told really by your mums and dads. You don't really need to be told by governments or the council what is correct and what is morally right. I think we come with that. And no matter how much they try to brainwash us, inside us, we know. And I think that is part of an intrinsic seed of life, if you like. And so therefore, we know that good is always the best thing to do. One of the things that I do is, of course, in the mornings and at night before I go to bed and when I wake up, I do a lot of affirmations. That really helps. Life is great. Things are good. That people will enjoy my videos. I do these affirmations because I think it's very important to stay positive in one's mind and not keep negative thoughts going around. We're programmed to have these negative thoughts. We're given these, a letter from the bailiff, or demands from the council, or the government is just trying to sort of keep us down and our vibrations low. That's what they want. And knowing that that's what they want makes me go, well, if that's what they want, I ain't going to give it to them. I'm not going to have low vibrations. I'm going to keep my mind fresh. I'm going to keep positive. Who knows? Ultimately, they can't get to me. They can't do anything. They can kill this body. They can knock me out. But they can't get to me, the me that's in, well, wherever it is. I don't know that it's necessarily in here. I'm just operating this consciousness. I don't think that is possible. So that's what keeps me chipper. That's what keeps me upbeat. That's what keeps me positive. And I think it's so essential to keep the glass half full rather than the, oh dear, we're all doomed. And, it may look like that. And there's plenty of videos out there that will tell you we're all going to die in a horrible, agonizing death and it's going to be doom and what have you. But what does that do to you? How does that make you feel? How do you get through the rest of the day? And often a lot of these videos, I don't know whether you've, a bit like me, you'd see these videos a year or so ago or 2 years ago, and they've all promised the end of the world. You would see these blokes, don't you, with these big sandwich boards saying, the end of the world is nigh. And years later you go, well, I don't know, it didn't end for me. Maybe it ended for them because of their negative thoughts. Maybe something happened to them and they got some nasty disease and what have you. And it did end from their perspective because they had this negative mindset. So I think it's important to stay chipper, to stay upbeat, even though things might look dreadful. Laugh, poke fun, because ultimately they can't get to you. If we are all just consciousness, if we're all joined together as part of the universe, then none of it really matters and they can't actually get to us in the end. That's my thoughts, my thought for the day, if you like. So go forward with a big smile on your face, and things will be okay.